Hey everyone, it's Damon. This is a pretty huge departure from my usual stuff since I generally only post my VODs nowadays, but I had a really good idea and I just couldn't help myself. As you can tell from the title, today we're going to be finding the answer to the question nobody ever asked: is it possible to beat Resident Evil 4 Remake without running? This challenge popped into my head while I was thinking of what challenges I could do for this game that hadn't been done before. To my knowledge, I'm the first person to attempt this. Without any further ado, how about we get to answering that question? First of all, we'll need to set a few ground rules. I decided to play a new game on standard difficulty because I figured that New Game Plus would make things way too easy for me. Most of this run would involve planting my feet and shooting since running isn't an option, and I needed to make sure that I was in an ammo deficit at every waking moment of this challenge. Otherwise, the only other restriction that I gave myself for this challenge was that I was not, under any circumstances, allowed to press the run button. Whatever else Leon decided to do of his own volition is totally fair game. I have the primal knife and hand cannon unlocked, so in the event that I get super ultra stuck, I have those to fall back on, even though I doubt I'd even have the spare change to upgrade them at all. Also, if you're wondering how I refrained from pressing shift for the entire duration of the run, I didn't. I rebinded the sprint key to the button I felt was most fitting. Also, I couldn't reach it. That was a factor too. Now that our rules are set, let's get on to exactly how this went. The first bit of the game was pretty easy, and there isn't any writing necessary when going through the first house and leading up to the village. The village itself, however, that was a different story. This was the first point in the run that I thought would give me some trouble due to Dr. Salvador and the horde of enemies. Well, I was half right in my assumptions. On my first attempt, I got bullied to death by the locals slapping me around, but on my second try, I'd learned from my mistakes and I killed 15 enemies as fast as I could, swiftly ending the village section without spending way too many resources. First tough section cleared. From there, I not so briskly walked over to the farm, dispatched 3 stupid villagers, and went to retrieve the cog that I needed to lift a gate to safety. Unfortunately, a big pigman decided to crash the party, but I quickly used the ladder to easily line up a few shotgun blasts to the head and he went down. I had to run away fast since there were many scary men right behind the pig guy, but I got away unscathed. After some people threw a boulder at me and some more people threw some bombs, I met Luis. Chapter 1 is officially clearable without running. On to Chapter 2. I got kidnapped by the big cheese and was left defenseless without my weapons. That was until I found a trusty knife. Though killing all the guys in the area was easy as pie, we have finally arrived at our first potential run killer. In this section, you're forced to crank open a door at one end of the building and beeline it to the other in order to make it inside before it closes. Since door skip was recently patched out, I couldn't skip the crank doors anymore. So you may be wondering, what did I do? Well, with my hopes already lowered, this happened. This is gonna be the end of the run.
Oh, you have to go all the way around?
Yep. Holy shit, it worked! I thought that was gonna be the end of the run! Oh gosh, boys, we're still in business! Boys, we're still in business. Let's go.
All you needed was me to be there, I guess.
We are gaming today. You don't have to run. Oh my god, that's so funny. I cleared it first try, and with quite a bit of time to spare. I was ecstatic. The run was alive and I could keep going after the president's daughter in no rush at all to save her life. After that, I went to retrieve the piece I needed to open a door to progress. Other than getting bullied by some locals again, not much else happened, but I got through the area on my first try. After some more leisurely strolling and absolutely destroying a Dr. Salvador, I had finally arrived at the chief's house. That's Chapter 2 complete. Chapter 3 was pretty much just smooth sailing. I cheesed the dogs when backtracking to the main village area, killed another pig guy and a bunch of ganados while making my way over to the fuel canister, and I strolled my way over to the Del Lago boss fight while taking my sweet time. After Del Lago, I was thrown headfirst into an encounter with the first Plagas enemies. I'm not gonna lie, I died here once or twice, but it wasn't too difficult to get past them both. After robbing some chickens of their babies, murdering more innocent people, just trying to start a conversation with me, and retrieving 2 creepy stone heads, I was onto the church to save Ashley. One little problem. There was a thick lad standing in my way. Elegante honestly wasn't that painful, although I did take a bit of damage since I wasn't able to dodge out of the way of his charge attacks. Since I remembered to help the dog earlier, I also had a helpful distraction. So, Elegante went down relatively easy. After leaving my new dog friend behind, I met another one which promptly tried to bite my face off, so I decided that maybe I should run, but I couldn't run. So I killed it. Then I ran into the church, guns blazing, and I found Ashley. Unfortunately, she had no damn clue who I was and attempted to bash my brains in. With a mild concussion, Ashley and I left the church. Now, this section. It gave me a bit of trouble. Since I couldn't use my usual strategy of snaking around the graves and leaving as fast as possible, I had no choice but to plant my feet and shoot at the oncoming enemies, classic RE style. I died quite a few times while trying to see what would and wouldn't work, but eventually I mowed through the enemies with quite a few heals used up because of the Plagas enemies. Thankfully, the next section was much simpler, with more spaced out Ganados so that Ashley and I wouldn't get cornered and stun-locked. Ashley and I had made it to the farm, and that's immediately where I faced trouble again. At the farm, there are many Ganados and one brute that spawn in for you and Ashley to face, and usually I'd run past them, but today we're taking it slow and stopping to smell the roses. Most of the time, Ashley and I would get cornered in one of the buildings and get kicked to death by the pig man, but surprisingly on my winning attempt, it wasn't him that was bullying me into submission. It was the cows. This one f***ing cow would not stop charging right into me while Ashley was incapacitated, and it was the single most frustrating moment in early game. We both got past it though with 21 broken bones and heavy hearts, and we were on to Villa. For Villa, I was pretty confident I'd get past it easily with the strategies I'd developed in the other 80 hours I poured into this game. Basically, what I did was board up the singular window at the back of the cabin, positioning myself so I faced the other 2 on the opposite wall. From there, for a couple of minutes, I shot every Ganado attempting to enter the impenetrable fortress that I had created, keeping the building clear for about half of the ordeal. After a few stragglers had broken through my ingenious defenses, it was time to go upstairs. Usually I alternate between knocking down ladders, making it impossible for anyone to get in until the brute spawns, but since I couldn't run, all I could do was try not to die until I could kill piggy number 4. And before I knew it, the brute went down and Villa had been cleared. Next up was the little section before I had to deal with the chainsaw twins. In my other playthrough, I discovered that if I stealth killed the first Ganado in the area, then used the sniper rifle and high-power scope to kill the 3 others in a specific order while taking care to not be spotted, I could avoid the spawn of the brute and the horde of Ganados entirely. This only took me 2 attempts to get right, and I would totally recommend it. It's a great way to save ammo and not have to worry about Ashley in close quarters with that many enemies. I strolled on over to the Chainsaw Twins with my fully upgraded bolt thrower and used the strategy I heard about watching Lil Aggie's challenge run using only the bolt thrower. Basically, all you have to do is shoot 5 or so mines at the light bulb right near the crank before you pick it up, and the minute you get out of the cutscene, both Chainsaw Twins get obliterated. I coasted through the rest of the enemies with no trouble at all, and Ashley and I were ready to walk our way to what I was absolutely convinced was run killer number 2, Mendez Chase. I was sure that since I had struggled with Ashley getting grabbed in my first playthrough that this just wasn't going to be possible. Well, simply put, I was wrong. I beat this part on my first try.
First I want to try it. He gets stunned. The run's alive! I did that first try! Holy shit!
Turns out, Mendez is incredibly slow and can be stunned by flashbangs, so with the shotgun to pop the heads of anything that got in our way, Ashley and I safely walked to the bridge and triggered the cutscene to safety. Now it was time to actually fight Mendez. I won't talk about this much since it was quite easy. When he throws wood at you, it's totally feasible to dodge them without running. In fact, they only ended up hitting me once I got stun-locked by the barrels. I ran out of ammo and I couldn't shoot them. With the big cheese down, that officially marks the end of Village. The first section of Resident Evil 4 Remake is completely possible without ever hitting the run button. Now, on to Castle.